guys, Mary from SVG Cuts here with some brand new Christmas projects, and I hope I get to squeeze in as many Christmas crafts as possible. I wanted to start off right off the bat with some pretty quick gift bags. So they're semi-quick, but also kind of have a wow factor, dimensional thing. You know, if you were to go to the store, I don't think I've ever seen a bag like this, and if you made it yourself and gave it to someone, they're gonna think it's super cool. So it's a lot of fun to use whatever kind of paper you want and different decorations that you can find at the craft store, such as this cool trim that I got from Hobby Lobby. I got this wire from Hobby Lobby, which is a lot of fun to kind of experiment with. This trim I got from A Cherry on Top. It's from Tim Holtz, and so are the Jingle Bell brads that are on there. I did some stitching on this bag, and I did some wood grain looking embossing on that dimensional heart. And I think this bag could also work for other occasions, you know, like birthday, thank you, anniversary, wedding, Valentine's Day. So hopefully these come in handy for more than just Christmas for you. Also, this bag is super quick and easy to put together, and really festive and cute and fun. This guy takes a little bit more time, but also not too difficult. And of course, he's nice and whimsical with all his little dimensional features, sure to delight someone if you give them something special in that for the holidays. So that's about it. The paper that I used this time is from My Mind's Eye. It's called Comfort and Joy. I really like it because of the plaid and the cozy look of it. But like I always say, whatever kind of paper you have in mind that you want to use is of course going to look awesome. So I've got all my pieces cut out to show you how these 5 bags go together. So let's get started. For our Christmas tree bag, I went ahead and glued my side and front panels onto the front and the side here, which is one piece, as well as on this other similar piece, which has the back and the other side on it. And I rubbed a turquoise ink pad around the edges of the panels and the bag itself. And then we've got the 3 pieces that make up the tree itself. So you want to bend it like this. Pretty much all the folds are mountain folds, except for underneath each of these small pieces, you want it to be bent towards you. And this piece goes like this, and then towards you underneath these small pieces. And as you can see, my shapes have numbers on them. So your machine will have cut a number into each piece, but I went ahead for this video and darkened them in with a marker, just so it's easier to see. So what we want to do is basically just glue these together side to side, a couple tabs at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the first 3 tabs of piece number 1 and glue them onto the side of piece number 2. So I'll just carefully take my time, line it up nicely, making sure each one gets a chance to dry before I move on so that it doesn't come out of place. And I'll just use that same technique to work my way up, a couple tabs at a time. And this final tab at the top, this little triangle, is going to get glued onto piece number 3. So similar thing over here, slightly different shape, but we'll just glue these tabs into place with glue on maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them at a time, and then glue them into place one at a time. So I'm gluing the final 3 tabs into place up here at the top. And I'm excited to see how this looks with this different paper, which is totally cute. And I'm excited to see how yours comes out if you decide to put some ornaments on your tree or little decorations. I kind of went back and forth like 5 times with different ornaments on the front of mine, with little red things and green, bling. Either way, I think it looks really cute. I wanted to go with a more natural, kind of winter lodge looking design on my original one. So I left it plain. But of course, the fun part of creativity is making it your own, however you want yours to look. So around the outside of the tree, I want to bend all of these tabs towards myself, all the way around. And then the front of the bag is going to go right on top of your tree. So to do that, first I'm going to anchor this bottom into place. And I could try to do it all at once, but I want to make sure it looks nice and perfect as possible. So I'm going to do one section at a time so that everything lines up really nicely. So I've got these 3 tabs on the bottom going into place. And then once it's dry enough, I'm going to flip it over and do the next section. So I'll just work my way up one section at a time, gluing the tabs down and kind of guiding it into place while I press down from the top. So I've got everything glued down except for this top section. Go ahead and glue that into place. And my tree looks nice and dimensional. Super cool. It really takes a plain gift bag up a notch with not too much time and looks really cool. Next I'm going to glue the side here into place onto the front. And then I can take this large rectangle and that's going to get glued right here so that it's nice and finished off. So I'm going to put a line of glue around the edge of this rectangle, and then I'll put some glue around my tree on the inside, and then just center this nicely inside. Once it kind of takes hold, we can flip it over and press down from the front. Now I can close my bag up with a line of glue on this remaining side tab here and glue that to the back side. Lining it up nicely, and then I can lay it flat, makes it easier to press down on that. Then we can turn it over, fold these bottom sides down, cover these tabs with glue, and then take the larger of the two remaining rectangles, glue that onto the bottom, and then you can flip it over and glue your final rectangle down on the inside to finish it off. Then all that's left to do is make your handle. I could use some of this leftover stuff here if I wanted to. I think it looks nice to have a wire handle, that way it kind of stays up out of the way. And then if you wanted to put some trim around and add a bow or little ornaments or whatever you want, you can have fun with that. For our snowman bag, I have the main pieces of it here, and as you can see, they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And your machine will have cut this number into each piece, and I went ahead and darkened it in with a marker so that it would be easier to see in this video. So you don't have to do that with the marker. If you want, you can, but it's not necessary. So at the bottom of each piece, this is folded, a valley fold. The rest of them are folded regularly. So for each piece, the bottom is folded towards you. And I'm going to start by putting some glue on the bottom tab of piece number 1 and anchor that into place. And once it takes hold, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the rest of these tabs, going up to the top. And then I'll just carefully glue them into place one at a time, being careful to line up the edge of piece number 2 with the folded edge on piece number 1. So to glue all 6 pieces together, I'm just going to do that same thing that I just did all the way down from 1 through to 6. So again, we'll just anchor the next one into place, first with some glue, and then once it's dry, once again work your way up this row of tabs until you get most of your pieces glued together. So I've got piece number 5 anchored onto piece number 4, and I could just work my way up as I did before, but for this final piece, it's almost easier to jump up to the top and get that lined up, and then the other tabs kind of just fall into place. Next, I'm going to put 6 in place, which is the back, and I'm just going to do that the same way. First, I want to anchor it into place and give it a moment to dry, and then I'll work my way up the rest of the tabs, and then I'll go on the other side and do the same thing to finish it up. And once again, if you'd like, it's almost easier to jump up to the top first and then work your way down so that the tabs sort of just fall into place. You can even lay it down flat so that you can really press down from the inside and line those up nicely. So finally, to close up the final seam, I've got this part anchored down here, and again, I will jump up to the top and anchor that top into place. Give it a moment to dry. I've got glue on all these tabs on the inside, and then I can lay it down flat and guide the rest of those tabs into place and glue them down. Next, I'm going to put my nose into place, and that's this orange piece here, and all these bottom tabs are folded towards you. And as you can see, your machine will have cut this tiny little T into the bottom of this tab. That means that's the top of the nose. So we can form it by putting some glue on the side tab here and fold that into place. And then I'll put some glue on this top tab as well as the other 3. And with the top facing upwards, I'll just feed that in from the inside and press those tabs into place on all 4 sides. Next, I'm going to take this large panel and put some glue all over the back of it and glue it right onto the back. Just centering it nicely. And then laying it down flat so I can push down from the inside. Then I can take my scarf, and I've got 2 pieces that look like these 2 here. And this one has a long piece on it. That's going to go on the back and wrap around like this. Right onto the back and wrap around to the side. And then I can put some glue on this other scarf piece and finish wrapping that around the bottom. Next, I've got my panels here, and I happen to cut mine out of white glitter, but you can of course cut yours out of whatever you'd like, and they're just going to go right onto our snowman. So if you want, you can glue the entire thing down, but I kind of prefer to just put glue on the top and the bottom, making sure you get out to the corners. That way you're guaranteed that it will make a nice smooth curved shape. So once I've got the top in place, I'll just move down to the bottom and glue that down. So as you can see, these little holes line up, as well as this X here. And then there are 2 side pieces. You can tell which one is which. They look similar, but if you try to put the wrong one in the wrong spot, it doesn't quite fit as nicely. So again, I'll just put some glue up at the top and down at the bottom and glue that into place at the top and at the bottom. Same thing on the other side. And then the final 2 pieces, once again, you can tell which one goes where if you hold it up in place. If it fits perfectly, you've got it right. So once again, glue at the top and at the bottom. Once it takes hold on the top, glue that bottom down and glue the final remaining panel piece into place. Now we can go ahead and flip it over and put some glue on this long back tab and anchor this bottom into place. And then once it takes hold a little bit, we can bend it down, lay it flat so we can push it down on our flat surface. And then go ahead and put glue on the rest of these tabs. And fold this up into place, lining it up so that it all meets up just right. Once it takes hold a little bit, you can set it down flat and push down on those tabs from the inside. Next, for the snowman's eyes, if you want to use a brad, you want to use 2 brads, you can. Or you can use these 2 little eyes that come with your download. And I took a white gel pen and I put some little white dots on the eyes. I think that looks cute. And then I have a sticky dot on the back side. I just got some of these from acherryontop.com. They're Scotch permanent adhesive dots, and they come on a roll, and I really like the dimension of them. They're a little bit smaller than the similar dots that I use all the time from Thermoweb called Zots. So it's just nice to have another option. So that's what I used to stick those on. You could also just glue them into place. Then for our little pipe, it's made up of these parts here. And if you look closely, there's an X here, and there are two little lines that your machine will have cut into the edge. You don't need to fold it, but that's just there as a guideline so that you can wrap it around and line it up really nicely. And then this X is towards the bottom. So I'm going to fold the top tabs out of the way and fold these bottom tabs into place, or fold them under. This is going to go on the top. This donut shaped piece is going to go on the top at the end. First we want to take this circle that has a little hole cut out of it and put some glue around the edge of it. And that little circle is just there to signify that this is the one that we want to grab right now. And you just want to drop that into your little pipe and then push down from the inside all the way around. Then you can cover the bottom with some glue and glue this plain circle onto the bottom. Then we can fold these tabs over, not too far over because we want them to grab hold of this guy. So I'm going to put some glue on the underside of my donut shape and glue that right on top. Next, I went outside and found a stick that's about 1/4 inch thick. A little smaller or a little bigger would be just fine. And then what you want to do is there's this X here in the pipe if you want to take something and kind of get it started and then put your stick through. And then also on the face there's an X right here. So if you want to take something rigid like a pen, get that hole started and go ahead and stick your little pipe in. There you go. Next I've got two circles that are the earmuffs, and if you want you can go ahead and just glue it or pop dot it out here. Super cute just like that. But if you wanted to make them fuzzy like I did on my original one, you can take some thick yarn. I got this in a small package from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. It came with red, green, and white. Because you only need a little bit of it. So the way that I did that was I took some double-sided craft tape and I covered my circle with this double-sided tape, and I'm going to put a couple strips on here, and once I'm done covering it with some strips of this tape, I will trim off the edges that are sticking out. And it doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be covered up by the yarn. So I've got it pretty much completely covered, and again, it doesn't need to be perfect as long as it is mostly covering your circle. And then I'll trim off the extra. And then I'll go ahead and peel off the plastic backing to expose the stickiness so that the whole thing is covered with sticky tape. And then I'll just go ahead and coil my fiber around. And I'm not even going to be super meticulous about it. Just coil it around so that it pretty much covers up the circle. And trim off the extra. Now before I put the earmuffs on my project, I've got about this much of wire edged ribbon, And if you want, you could cut a strip of paper if you don't have any ribbon handy that you would like. And just, you could make it a shorter or longer, whatever you think looks nice. And then punch a hole if you have a little hole puncher, or else just poke a hole with something sharp, maybe cut. You could always, bend it in half and kind of cut half of a square with some scissors if you want. And then affix it to your project with some cute little coordinating brads. Then to put my earmuffs on, I'm going to use some dimensional Zots by Thermoweb, especially since my panels are glitter. The stronger adhesive, the better if you're going to glue or adhere something to the glitter. So these are nice and strong, or whatever kind of adhesive you have in mind will work depending on what type of paper you're working with. And then I just want to center it just below the little brad, or whatever you think looks cute. That's what I think looks cute. And then go ahead and put the other side on as well. Next, for our Snowman Hat gift bag, I've got the pieces here, and first I've got the bottom of the hat, and I did rub a light brown ink pad around it. And of course the traditional color of a snowman hat would probably be black, but since I'm using this really cute paper, I chose a dark blue because it goes with my paper scheme. I think it's going to come out really cute. So you just want to center this piece right on top like this. And then I've got these two pieces, which are identical, and I also rubbed a light brown ink pad around the edges just to give it a cool effect. And this tab up here has a little reinforcement part on it to reinforce that hole. So you just want to glue one to the other. And then do the same thing on the other side and glue that into place. So I really wanted to make these gift bags really cute, so you can have a lot of fun picking your paper and making something cool yourself, and giving it your own creative touch. But also, it's also pretty quick and easy, so that if you want to make a bunch for the upcoming holidays, you can do a bunch of them pretty quickly. So, as you can see, I folded those bottom tabs over, and I'm going to take this piece and put some glue around the edge of it, and then put that down in the bottom of my bag. So that fits inside the bottom just right, and I'm going to push down on those tabs from the inside. And then I'll take a peek. Yep, looks good. And we can go ahead and glue our cute little panel on the front like this. And that just gets centered near the bottom. And then we can cover the bottom with some glue and center that right on top of the bottom of our bag. Then finally we've got our little berries, our leaves, our holly leaf, and our buckle. And if you would like, you can certainly use some dimensional dots to give this a little more interest. And of course you could just glue it down if you want, but I'm going to give it dimension with those dots and just center that right on the front. And then however you think these guys look nice, I'm going to Put mine like this with a dot of glue on the bottom. And then for this piece, I also rubbed a green ink pad around the edges of this shape and the holly leaf. And then I'll put some glue on the bottom of this. And just wherever you think it looks cute, you can put it. I'm going to put mine like this. And then to stick with my color scheme of this paper, I used pink berries and I put some pretty little pink bling on there. And I think I'll put a dimensional dot on the back of these guys and then just cluster them together on the front. And since this is a little bit floppier than my original, I think I'll put a little bit of glue up at the top and glue that leaf down into place. And then all that's left to do is put your handle in place. And again, you could use ribbon or a pipe cleaner or wire. For mine, I used some wire and just looped it through and twisted it around. For our stitched heart bag, I've got the 3 pieces that make up the heart here, and there are 2 hearts that look like this. One of them's a little bit smaller. That's the panel. This is the one that goes with these, with the tabs. And then I've got my panels here, which are going to go on at the end. And you could emboss them if you want. That's what I did on my original one. I inked the edges with brown, dark brown on these panels, and for this one, I didn't emboss them. I just went really heavy with the inking. So then we've also got the bag itself with the panel here. And if you want to make yours without the holes for the stitching, you can definitely do that. Just look in your project's extras folder, and you've got these pieces without the holes. So I've got the panel, part of the bag, other part of the bag, and then these 2 pieces make up the bottom. So first what we want to do is take this large piece and put some glue on this little triangle tab and glue that into place and hold it for a little while to make sure it's completely dry. And then we'll do the same thing with this smaller piece with the tabs and glue that together and hold it for a little extra time to make sure it's totally dry. Then with this in a concave kind of shape like this, we want these tabs inside bent towards you so that it's basically flat. And then I'm going to anchor these 2 bottom tabs right onto my heart shape. And then I'll put some glue behind the next 2 tabs and glue them down. And then I'll put a line of glue around the top half of my heart. And glue those tabs into place around the rest of the top half. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I might as well go ahead and glue my little panel in place, which I inked with dark blue to go with my paper scheme, as well as my two other panels that fit inside here. And then I want to take this piece and glue it behind my larger piece. So again, I'm just going to anchor the two bottom tabs first. And then I'll glue down the next 2 tabs near the bottom. And then I'll put a line of glue around the top half. And glue these down. As well as on the other side. Then I can go ahead and glue my 2 remaining larger panels into place. And then you can take your bag front and carefully put a line of glue around the heart and drop your heart into place. Lining up that bottom point with the bottom to anchor it into place before you flip it over. And then press down around the edge. Next, I'm going to take the other bag piece and put a line of glue down the side tab and glue the front onto the side. And then I can take my front panel and get that into place with 4 brads through these 4 holes in the front, in the 4 corners. Then you can go ahead and fold over these tabs on the inside, which just reinforces the whole thing. But I'm only going to do these three tabs at the top first, the front and the 2 sides. Since I am going to do stitching on my bag, the way that I did it was I have some pretty twine here, and I just unraveled enough so that it's comfortable to work with, because we can always add more. It's not a problem. And I've got some thick needles that I got from Michael's and my little needle threader. And again, if you would rather not stitch on your bag, you can make it without the holes for the stitching. So all I did was threaded my needle, put a knot at the end, maybe double knot if you want, and then I just started through 1 hole and did every other hole all the way down so that it's stitched through every other hole. And then when I got to the end, I worked my way back and did the reverse so that the whole entire thing has stitching on it. You can do that if you want, or just plain stitching is fine. Then you can go ahead, after you're done with that, put a line of glue down this final side tab and glue that into place. And then you can glue this tab over to finish it off. Then you just want to flip it over, cover these bottom tabs with glue, and take the larger of your 2 remaining rectangles and glue that onto the bottom. Then you can flip it over and glue the smaller rectangle inside to finish it off. Then all that's left to do is put your cute little handle in place, and you can use, ribbon or cut a strip of paper if you want. I think a pipe cleaner looks really cool, and I found this really awesome pipe cleaner by Tim Holtz that I used for mine, and I looped it through. And then I also found some of this stuff at Hobby Lobby, and so I added some on the side as some cute extra stuff. And these little Jingle Bell brads are also from Tim Holtz. Next, for our wreath bag, I've got the front here, and I went ahead and glued the front panel onto it, as well as the two sides, and I glued the side panels onto them. I've got two rectangles that'll be the bottom, and then I've got the back, and I glued the back panel onto the back. So I'm going to go ahead and start by gluing the side panels onto the front. So I'll just put a line of glue down the side tab of the side. And I did rub a light green ink pad around the edges of my bag pieces, and a dark brown or a dark green ink pad around the edges of my panels. I just thought it gave it a nice effect. If you're going for that kind of effect, it looks nice usually. And then for the wreath itself, I've got the pieces here. This is the bottom layer, and all I did was I rubbed a dark green ink pad around the edges of the leaves, and then I just pinched each one at the top and at the bottom. Then I've got two pieces that look like this, and one is slightly larger than the other one. That one's the middle layer, and then the top layer. So I also rubbed an ink pad around the edges of both of these, and I pinched each leaf in half. And for these smaller leaves, I just kind of folded it up. I did that to both of these. And then we can go ahead and just glue it in the middle however you think it looks nice. So to do that, I put some dots of glue around on the leaves, and then I just centered it right on the front. Next, I will do the same thing on my middle layer with some dots of glue around in the center. And I want it to be dimensional, so I'm not going to glue it 100% down. And then just position it wherever you think it looks nice, centered, and press down to glue that into place. Then for the final top layer, you can do the same thing with the glue, or if you'd like to make it more dimensional, you can put some dimensional dots behind it to make it pop out more if you'd like. And then position it however you think it looks nice, also centered on your wreath. And then for our little berries, I took each one and I rubbed a blue ink pad on the edge of each one, just because that goes with the color scheme. It kind of makes them look more dimensional and pretty. And then if you'd like, you can put the berries on however you want, of course. But if you want to make it look like this, where they're evenly spaced the way that I did it, you can use this template that comes with your download to do that. So to make little clusters just like this, what I did was I took my berries and I put them face down inside one of these little cutouts. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then I took my dimensional dots. These just happen to be these Scotch permanent adhesive dots that I got from acherryontop.com, and I just carefully put this dot behind it. So I went ahead and did that with all of my berries. So I've got them all in clusters of 3 here. And then I'm going to put my template on top of my wreath centered. And then I took each cluster and put it right on my wreath using this template as a guide. So again, you can do yours however you'd like. I think it's going to look really pretty no matter how you decide to do it. But if you want to do it just like me with the template, this is how I did it. Then once you've got all of your berry clusters in place, you can just carefully lift your template off of your design. So now we can go ahead and glue the back into place with some glue on this panel, or this side tab here, and glue that onto the side and finish it up on the other side. And then you can go ahead and turn it over, cover these bottom tabs with glue, and take the larger of your 2 remaining rectangles and glue that right onto the bottom. Then you can flip it over and put some glue on this final rectangle and glue that into the bottom to finish it off. Then if you want, I also took a white gel pen and I put a little dot on each of the berries, not centered. You can center it if you want, but I thought it looked cute to be kind of off-centered around there. And then if you want to add a bow, you can. And then for the handle, you could use ribbon or whatever. I found this really cool twisted wire at Hobby Lobby, so that's what I used for mine. And you just want to loop it through and twist it around. So there you have it, really fun gift bags for Christmas and beyond. I hope you have a great time making them, and if you do, I would love to see a picture either on our Facebook wall, put it on Instagram, tag SVG Cuts, put it on your blog, pin it on Pinterest, however you like to share. I always love to see, and so do the rest of our crafty friends. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting.